you very much.
So welcome to Provocateurs. Thanks for joining us today.
Oh, is that what it's called?
It's called Provocateurs. Yeah, that's why you're here. So tell us, Danny, who are you and who is Clockwork Orange?
Oh, that's a deep question. Who am I? My name is Danny Gould, 52. I'm one of the business partners of Clockwork Orange with Andy Manston. And Clockwork Orange has now been going since 1993. We got together in 1992. So what's that, 32 years ago? 31 years we've been doing parties, yeah.
Wow. How did it all start?
Andy wanted to start a party. Andy asked me, and it's been documented. Like I was just ducking and diving in clubs, like, trying to earn money in clubs instead of like putting yourself in the deep end. When I got nicked once for possession, they took me to Ilford Police Station.
Really?
So there's loads. I was driving past it earlier on.
And you grew up around here as well, didn't you?
I hung about around Ilford. Yeah, I had my first Big Mac. In the one down the High Street. Yeah, loads of stuff. Got nicked for taking stuff out of a scrapyard on a Sunday. But it was different in the 70s. That was like 82, 83. So it was a different world. Police pulled up. Where'd you get that? Oh, we got it from the scrapyard. We're still stealing. But no, it ain't. And they arrested us, make us take it back as well.
So this was when you started in the clubs, or was this before?
No, so sorry, I've digressed there. So then we started doing parties in 1993, January 1993, and literally grew from there, really. Yeah, everybody was getting into it. It was after the big raves of 89, and then the clubs started to explode, and then we were part of that when it went into like super clubs, and you had people like Gatecrasher and all them kind of guys.
And so I remember actually watching a documentary in lockdown about the whole rave culture and the birth of the club scene. So you were at the precipice of that, and your brand was at the beginning of... So clubs all probably started like 87, 88, around that area, with like Ramplin and all those kind of people. Then 89, when I went out, I didn't go out much in 89, sort of like dibbled and dabbled, done some trips and things like that. And then things were going on and people grew, but then Andy wanted to do a party and he said, will you get involved? And that was it, I got involved. And so what happened next? Because you guys have now got this global brand, you do parties all over the world.
Well, we're trying to, yeah.
You have, I see it. Yeah. It's happening.
Yeah, Thailand, Dubai, Australia, yeah.
So how did you go from that, starting in London clubs, to where you are now?
That's a million answers. That's a million answers. Blood, sweat, tears, breakdowns, drug addictions, psychosis, hard work, failure, success, yeah, making money, losing money, learning, the whole shooting match all the way through. But peppered with that is some of the best memories of my life. And Ibiza for, what did we do? I've done about 9 or 10 summers with Clockwork, and then we've gone back and done it again. And I honestly think like this year round, or these times in Ibiza now, is probably like better than what it used to be. You know what I mean? It's like everyone's grown up, but the 90s in Ibiza was just madness. As Alex P said to someone, can I swear?
Of course you can.
Right, cool. We went, it's our fucking playground. So as soon as you arrived in Ibiza and them doors opened and you got out of that airport, it was like, game on. That was it. I've gone to pick friends up and fell out of the cab before, passed out on the floor in the airport. That's just one of a million stories.
So Ibiza started for you in the 90s?
No, I first went to Ibiza in 89.
Wow.
Yeah, 89 when I was 17 with a friend's family.
So what was it like then? How was it different? You say it's better now, but what was it like then?
No, 89 I didn't get to experience nothing because we stayed and played in Bossart, all inclusive, got drunk in the hotel every night, that was it.
Yeah. And
it wasn't until I went in 1990 that we went to Amnesia and got a taste of that, and went to Paradise every couple of nights, and it was all about the West End, and then it got more and more, then Space I didn't go Space till 93. Yeah, 93. Lived out there for about 6-7 weeks in 92, and we'd just done Paradise. We'd done the opening of Coup, because Coup had been shut down. I can't even remember. I think I went Pasha and a couple of other ones, but it was mainly like just getting pissed and taking trips. And then Clockwork in 94. Same thing. I went in 93 and Andy said, I said I was going to go back for the summer in 94. He said, why don't we take Clockwork? And I went, you're fucking mad. So it's just been going like a year. Who's going to know us? Went out there, bullshitted, and we got a night in Paradise on a Wednesday night.
And that was for the whole season?
Yeah.
Wow.
22.
Wow. Wow.
22 years old, yeah.
Wow.
Just turned 22 by 2 months. So I was like 21 almost when we went out there, just by 2 months.
And so with that, you just literally pitched up, gave them
No, they
spiel.
said this was May. The season had just started. So the season back in May then was the West End, a few bars, Es Paradise would open, and then everything else around the island would open. Now you go out there at the end of fucking March and everyone's opening like their doors.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because they got greedy. Oh, we lost money in lockdown. So they've gone earlier and later. It's bullshit. Do you know what I mean? So everything's more fragmented. Then everything was set specific. Like Es Paradise had opened first, and then the last one that had closed would be Space. Space had closed. That was it. Season was over. Now everyone's going on to like November.
Of course.
Do you know what I mean?
I know. I have seen that the last couple of years actually after lockdown. That's a really good point. So what is different to Ibiza then and now? Would you say what are the big differences?
What did you talk about earlier? What would you just ask me? And I've gone off on the tangent. You just asked me something before that.
I asked you how you rocked up.
Right. So we went out there. Old brain. So we went out there in May, and then we literally flew home, rung John Digweed, rung him up at his house. I think his mum answered the phone. That was how long ago it was. He said he'd do it. Rung Judge Jules up at home. Not sure who he was living with at the time. Brandon Block and Alex P were out there. We made them residents, as it did everyone else. Seb weren't about then. Paul weren't about then. I think we had Lisa. Got the flyers printed. Flew back out there 3 or 4 weeks later, and we had all the flyers in holders and put them through the hand luggage. Yeah, and when they said, have you got any hand luggage? We went, no. And literally like a box or 2 boxes of flyers weighing like, 50, 60 kilos, and just carried them around. You could get away with it then. All our friends just come out and bring our posters and flyers with them. And that was it. Lived in an apartment off the West End, cheap as chips, got thrown out, give out flyers every day. Went and lived with this old lady in the middle of nowhere. My friend crashed her car. He rolled it into a garage. Loads of stuff.
Wow.
And it just progressed from there.
And this is before the days of social media,
Yeah,
right?
massively, yeah.
And how big? So for those people who don't know, how big is this club? How do you pack it out?
Right, okay. So when we started, we probably got 300 people, 400 people. 95 got a bit bigger. 600 to 800, 900 people. 96, the season was shit in Ibiza, so it dropped. And in 97, we went out there was a series called Ibiza Uncovered. So we was doing well in 97, and then Ibiza Uncovered come out in September of 97, and we went from that to that. It just like went massive overnight. We beat the all-time record in 1997. We'd done some mad stuff in London in 1998, thought we wouldn't be going to Ibiza, and then we managed to sort that out, and then we went out to Ibiza in 98 and we smashed the record every week. So we went from 300 to 3,600.
Wow.
Yeah, and the club's capacity is about 1,900.
And this is before social media.
Before social media, it was all word of mouth.
Yeah.
And silly magazines and listings and flyers. You give out flyers on the beach then.
So do you think that's been key to building your brand now? Having had that like face-to-face connection, actually being in the presence of someone, getting that flyer in the hand. Do you think it's impacted now how you've gained?
Well, it was everybody who went in the 90s remembered it when we restarted, and then they came, and then it fragments out. And then I wouldn't have been able to start again if it weren't for social media. I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have walked up and down King's Road or Covent Garden or all around there or around the Angel and giving out flyers and putting up posters and talk record shops, and all the record shops are gone. All the clothes shops are gone. Ted Baker and no, too old for that. Social media.
That's how you built it initially.
Yeah.
You'd go out everywhere knocking on doors.
Yeah, and then what made us like more recognised more than anyone else is in the sense of not more than, but as part of it, is that in the 90s, and I've said this before, the crazier you were, the more you got recognised. And when I was young, I was off the wall. Do you know what I mean? Put a drink in me or a drug in me, and it was 10 times more. It was made for me. Do you know what I mean? You get more editorial, get noticed more if you're mental or off the wall. That was me. So
what was it people would say about you back then?
He's just a loon. He's off his tits. He's the classic one. He's a nice enough bloke, that Danny Gould, but when he has a drink, he turns into an arsehole.
What did you do?
Oh, you
What would you
smashed
do
things, you burnt things, you set things on fire, you threw things at people, you bit them. That was just all part and parcel of it. Try to take as much gear as you could. Exactly like what Brandon's, Alex's quote was. It was our playground. You just did what you wanted to the extreme. You come out of a nice restaurant and then you throw a firework in there and then like drive off and it's just bang cracking and booming and everyone's running out and there's smoke. You're just laughing, driving off in the car.
Wow.
That's just one of a million.
So this was your reputation on the island and back here.
Yeah.
And so how did you get into drugs? How did this all come about for you?
How did it start? I think it was like Tipex thinner and then aerosols and doing that and spraying it on the cloth and then my mum calling me for dinner and I'm sitting in my bedroom like dribbling. She's going, dinner's ready. I'm like a crackhead. Going like, oh my God, going down and like, got to hold it together. Like eating something and almost like drooling. She's like, what the fuck the hell's the matter with you? I'm like, I'm tired. That's when it started at high school. I got drunk when I was 8. Like, drunk all these cans of lager I wasn't supposed to touch. School parties. Everything was to the extreme. There was no respect for it. So I drank them 3 cans of alcohol when I was 8. School party when I was 11 or 12. Bought 3 cans of special brew from this shop that let you buy alcohol. Drunk all 3 of them at once. And then I was that kid laying on the floor being sick. Drunk half a bottle of whiskey when I was 13, racing someone at an under-18s party. Then rode my bike for like 5 miles. Like this. I couldn't see. I'm cross-eyed now and I'm looking at you like twice. Hit a bollard, went over, I was sick, was standing in the middle of a dual carriageway. Cars were just all around me like beeping me. I'm like, ugh. Wow. How I lived through some of that, I don't know.
Wow.
And then it went on.
Yeah.
Then it went on.
Is that why you got into nightlife? Is that why
No. It's just all part and parcel of it. Wasn't it in the 90s or early 90s, there was parties going on every week, everywhere. And then a DJ that we used to follow, 89, we lost contact with him in 89, called Tony Wilson. He was doing a thing called, whatever it was called, Tranquility on a Friday at Echoes. Then he went to the Bonbonnie in wherever that is, South London, Kentish way. And then in 1991, we heard he was in South London at a place called the Albany Empire. And his sound was like Balearic. And we went and followed him, and that's when I got into Love Doves, and that's when it exploded. That's when it took off. And then we was out there like Friday, Saturday, every Friday and Saturday.
So your drug, would you call it a drug addiction, yeah?
I did have, yeah.
So did it just get more and more extreme?
Yeah, more and more extreme. So you go from 1 pill to 2 pills to 4 pills to 6 to 8 to 10. Yeah, you go from like half a gram of gear to like a gram to like an eighth, a quarter, half ounce. And then when we was doing really well, we started buying ounces and then doing it with spoons and shit like that. Not like spoons cooking it up, like that.
What was the worst experience you ever had where you were like, this is it?
No, but they never, see, this is the thing, there never was one that was like this. What do you mean, like, this is it?
Like, you were like, this is, I don't know how I'm going to get out of it, this.
Oh, no, I mean, there was all like that when it got to the end, and there was nothing like where we're not going to get out of it. We've fought imaginary gypsies. I've had psychosis. I've been sitting in a room after 3 days like you now, so I've had no sleep. I'm probably dehydrated. I'm paranoid, frozen to the spot. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I've gone through like 2 or 3 days. Everybody else has gone to sleep or come in and had a little bit and gone to sleep. And I'm staring at the sliding doors that I'm too paranoid to get up. Every noise is magnified. So you're thinking every click, every noise outside. So your brain starts to play tricks on you. And then something started doing that, looking around the door. And I'm holding a knife. I'm holding a big carving knife. I'm just paranoid of myself. And it starts looking around the door like that. Just an outline of a figure. Not like the outline, just all in black, so you can't see what it is or who it is. Psychosis. I go like that. Just looking around the door. It was me. It was my mind putting that thing in there.
And what did those around you say that like loved you?
It was just normality at the time. That's all part and parcel. They weren't quite on that level. Sitting and talking to the devil. That was something I used to quite enjoy. Thought I had a connection with the devil when he was in the room.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. When sitting in the dark, everyone would be out. I'd come back and I'd look around. Like I used to look under everything with a knife. When I was in them days in the 90s and got sober in 2003. Yeah, I thought the devil was like everywhere. But then when sometimes I'd sit in the corner of the room in the dark with a gear It's almost like I summoned him into my not being in the room with me, and I feel like I could feel him, and I'd be talking to him, embracing it. Yeah, not like a voodoo, but like yeah.
When you look back now, what was that teaching you? What does it do to have those experiences?
Only character builds.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't nothing else. I quite enjoyed him. If I'm being honest, I quite enjoyed him. I like the madness. I did like the madness. You deal with it and you sort yourself out, but I do miss the crazy boy. Because I'll tell you this. I made someone laugh the other day. Took my daughter to France in the Winnebago that I've got, and we got to the last before campsite, and there's a lovely little spot, and I pulled in, and he went, "There's your electric. There's your electric. Get your water from here, and this is your drain for your stuff." I went, right, cool. So I filled my water up, and then I see the hose was stopped, and I walked round, and he went, "Danny, your water's overfilling." He said, "Please be respectful." I went, "Okay, no worries." I was tired, didn't want to be getting in any trouble. And then I'm sitting here, and I had the washing machine going, and he said, "Don't put that water on the grass. You're talking like 2 cupfuls of this and some bubbles." And he's walked behind the Winnebago. I thought, oh, no. He come back, he went, "Danny, first the water, now the aircon. Have you got the aircon on?" And I went, "Yeah." He went, "Your windows are open. Please, Danny, be respectful." And I'm shitting myself. Not shitting, but I'm concerned he's going to moan about the washing machine. In the old days, I would have set fire to his car. I'd have bit him. Do you know what I mean? And I'm sitting there going... And I'm sitting there thinking, and he walked off, and I went, right. And I'm standing on the step of the Winnebago so it doesn't rock too much so we can hear the washing machine. I thought, I've changed so much. Do you know what I mean? Now I'm a respectful person, member of society. Pays his taxes, does this, does that. Do you know what I mean? So, and I'm worried about a cup full of water and some bubbles.
Of course. Yeah. So let's go into that then. How did you get from drug addict, biting people, throwing firecrackers, to now who you are? You said 2003 you had something.
2003 I got sober. That's when I stopped.
Right. So how did you get sober, Danny?
I just woke up one morning. I think it was a case of like the madness has got to such a point, and my brain, I don't know, I can't explain it. Some people go, it's divine intervention, and I don't believe in all that. And I just woke up one morning and I just went like that after a mad session, and a lot of pain and anger and resentment and not enough. I was just chasing everything. I just didn't have enough to do. I couldn't get enough gear inside me or drugs. I just woke up and went, and I could just feel it, this feeling. And that was it. The addiction was gone.
Wow.
Drink and drugs. I relapsed on cocaine after 6 months, and I'm sitting there going, what am I doing? This shit. What am I doing this? Just went like that. Wow. That's all it did to me. There was nothing glorious or sexy about cocaine. It was like, that's how it made me feel, honestly. And then I would like literally get under the table and hide. He'd go, where's Gould? What are you doing under there? Don't tell no one where I am. That's what it did to my brain.
Wow.
And then I went to AA. I started going to AA. Went to AA for like 8 years. All every week. Sometimes I didn't go, and then I paid the price for not going. It's like basically if you had to go and get your medicine, you don't get your medicine, you're going to feel worse, and you have your medicine, you're like, right, why have I missed that? Done everything, the secretary, cleaned up cigarette butts, the chairs, the retreats, the seminars, the conventions, and done it all. And then after 8 years, I was like, right, that's it. I've done it. I've had enough.
Wow. But you had given it up completely.
I didn't give it up. I think it gave up on me.
Right.
Because alcohol in Ibiza in 2000, like literally a week before, we were sitting in one of that restaurant I just said where I used to throw like that. They were more like, it wasn't firecrackers. These things were fucking strong. We used to call them the governor. And they were about yay big, about that long, and they were illegal. We used to buy them in the butchers. So the man would be selling sausages, and we go, fósforos or something like that, which is matches in Spanish. And they go, and you look under the counter and it'd be a like little bag. And he put them in a bag. They were illegal, like he was making them themselves. One of them, a few of them went off once, were like burning there and melted all the skin of my finger. So I had to go and get bandages put on it. Blew holes, used to blow holes in cassette players and people's clothes and shoes, and they were strong. And that restaurant where we used to do that, I was in there one night drinking. And say, for example, if you're looking at it and like that's going into the green, just went straight into the black. So I'm like drinking now like that. It was like liquid depression, where it used to make me like, ooh, here we go. I was just sitting there going, like literally just like that, pulled me down like a black veil, and I went, whoa, what's going on here? But then I knew. Well, I used to learn quite slowly from things and mistakes that I did when I was a kid, but with that, I knew straight away.
Wow.
I knew straight away. I went, spoke to my mum, and she started putting me on the path.
Wow. And so how did that impact your work, your brand, the way you were seen, to go from that extreme to then being so...
I'd finished Clockwork budding.
Right.
Yeah, I left in 2001 because we went like that, and then it just went like that. There was just too much. I was getting on it, and he was doing whatever he was doing. He was involved in his records, and the scene had changed in Ibiza. It changed in London. All just started going sideways. And we did a big, massive New Year's Eve with the Chemical Brothers and all these kind of people in a lighthouse in London, and lost money at that. Went back to Ibiza in 2001, lost money at that, and I went, oh, fuck that. And I started off as a site labourer. So I've gone from like 1998, like king of Ibiza, like couldn't do nothing wrong, like earning, just doing whatever I wanted, to 2001, working on a building site, sweeping up stuff and being told to put my hard hat on and where's your gloves and all that. And that's how I started.
And so what did that do for you?
Oh, it's just part of, but you had to do it, you had to get on with it. Yeah, there was no ego. The ego had gone through the roof when I was younger, but then you had to be humble. And there was an element of like, who you talking to with the fucking telling me to put my hat on. But then I went on, then I learned from that and got sober, and then went on to become like a senior project manager, running the big jobs that I started off on.
Amazing.
Through so much hard work and stress.
I can imagine. And a completely different skill set to what you've been doing.
No, it's quite the same. Organising things and flying things all over Europe and DJ is similar. You just had to know the process of materials and the fixings and the fixtures and the drawings and the diagrams and coordinations and scope of works and bill of quants and all that kind of stuff is very, very similar.
And so what made you then go back into Clockwork?
Andy had asked me for years. We all started being like hanging around together and going camping and having a laugh. And then I had 10 albums, friends' albums, photograph albums, for people who don't know what photographs are, but photograph albums. I had old VHS, not the VHS, I had the camcorder little videos from like Clockwork in the 90s. I had them converted to a DVD, the DVD converted to an MP3, the MP3 I loaded onto YouTube. Then I was putting videos up at like 20 minutes, half hour long. No one wants to watch that. But anyway, they all went up. And all the photos I started loading onto Facebook. And it was a time where everyone had gone out in the 90s. Everyone stopped going out. Kids, marriages, all these things, blah, blah, blah. And then the kids had grown up. And then when I started putting them up, it was almost like that perfect time. This person copied that person. I could feel a little buzz. And then Andy rang me up one day and went, fancy doing a party? And I went, yeah, I fucking do. And I got the buzz for it. I just had the buzz. That was it. The buzz came back.
And where was your first party back?
The Queen's on my 40th birthday on March the 12th, 2012.
I worked that.
Did you?
I was the shop girl there.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know that was your first night back.
Wow.
'Cause that was an all-night one.
No, so I was supposed to go until 4.
Yeah.
And at 2 o'clock, 2:15 in the morning, the manager come up to me and he went, can I have a word? And I went, yeah. He said, there's a load of old people laying on the stairs, gurning. He went, I'm going to have to shut the venue. Otherwise we're going to get in trouble. I went, no worries. And I just left the room. Yeah.
I remember that night. I didn't know that was you coming back.
Yeah, that was our first night back. And weren't nothing to do with like relaunching or saying like, we're coming back, we're going to do this. It was like, let's try it. And we was unsure. And we sold all the tickets in like a couple of days. And
wow.
And it just grew from there.
And so your following has remained from the people that were there before coming back out?
Yeah.
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 And what would you say Clockwork Orange?
Clockwork or Clockwork?
Clockwork.
Right, okay. What kind of thing is this?
What's it known for? Like, what's the brand known? Like, what sort of music can people expect?
Now it's changed. In the 90s, it was like more pumping up tempo kind of the stuff that was around at the time. It started off with progressive in 93, and it was always born on like the old school and the Balearic. That's what was playing the second rooms. Now it's all the remixes and edits of all the old stuff, really, with some of the old stuff like thrown in. Excuse me. The different rooms, different people. Fat Tony plays his quite vocally kind of set. Seb Fontaine's on the cool tip. Tall Paul's on all the edits that he does. And he's a bit more, he calls them filth, but he's a bit more up-tempo kind of stuff. I go all over the show. Mine's a bit like eclectic. I'll throw in a bit of this with a bit of that, with a bit of tech house, with a bit of this, with a bit of old school, with trying to like mix it up. So it's but the festival as well, that was like 6 different arenas, from disco to old school to the main stage. So yeah, it's changed, but it's all over the show really.
And so globally now, what countries are you in?
On one-offs, working on Dubai, we do Ibiza. Koh Samui, New Year's Eve.
Oh wow!
Yeah, New Year's Eve, that'd be good. I'm going on over Christmas, and for the beginning of New Year, I want to do loads and loads of yoga. I want to get even better, and or start to learn. I could make it even better. I'm not even of any level now. I just stretch. Something again, people told me for years, you should do stretching. I was like, God, I do stretching. Done the first one. I was like, why have I never done this? Do you know what I mean? Yeah, Australia we did in March of this year. That was insane. That was brilliant. It was just what we needed. Do you know what I mean? It was so good.
Which part of Sydney?
No, we started in Sydney. Then we done Melbourne. Then from Melbourne we went to Byron Bay for 6 days.
Wow.
Was like up at like 4 o'clock, 4 every morning when I watched the sunrise. Breakfast at 6:15. Their life. Everybody's out and about. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And then we went to Perth and spent a few days in Perth. I wish I'd done more days in Thingy really, or flown back to Byron. But anyway, and then just working on a few other bits. But Ibiza's always been the one.
Yeah.
That's always been the one.
And do you still love Ibiza? Like you
yeah.
Did? What do you love about it?
What I liked in the 90s was it's what has been spoken about when everybody went over there in the early 80s, or them guys like your Okies and the Ramplins and everyone else. It's like you're escaping somewhere that's always seemed to have had shit weather. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like a bleak skyline. Now we're older and you've done things, you're a bit more mature, it ain't so bad as when you was a kid. But them days you'd leave England, you get there, and as I said, like you're in this sunny paradise where like literally you can almost get away with like anything. And it's everything that every kid wanted was like sex, drugs and rock and roll. Now, when I go, I do yoga, I stay on my own, I enjoy it. I ain't nothing like that kid like when I was younger. Don't eat the bread, don't drink the fizzy drinks, stop the chocolate. Do you know what I mean? Like once in a blue moon, I'll eat like meat, but then like sort of like regret it. So I've like changed my diet completely, and that's what I love it for. And the sunrises and countryside, and yeah, you just love it, don't you? Maybe it's the first place that I ever went to, so I fell in love with it.
I mean, I always say me and Ibiza have a complete love affair, and I agree. I've seen every side like you, but why do you think that side isn't as well known about? Or do you think it's
the north?
Like just like that? Yeah, just like
because it's so far away.
Yeah.
So if you want to go to Ibiza and go out, where I stay takes 45 to 50 minutes to get to San Antonio. A, if you're drinking, you're not going to do it. Or B, like every night, it's like a trek. It's like you're commuting every day.
Yeah.
I do like 2 to 3 hours of driving a day.
That is true. Where do you stay then when you stay?
Cala Saint Vicente. The lady told me how to say it right this year, yeah. Because I go, Vincent Vicente. She goes, Cala San Vicente. And I was like, yeah.
That one.
Cala San Vicente. I've got it.
I was in Santa Ilaria when I lived there. I lived there for about 8 months.
That's about 20 minutes away.
Yeah.
So it's 20 minutes on from there, if not more.
It's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, the other place is just lovely. It's just quiet. It's just nuts. Every morning, have a coffee, roll down the hill with the towel and the shorts, go in the sea, do a little bit of swimming out, swim back in again, refreshed, morning sea, maybe one person there, like up at 6, 7 o'clock, come back, have my coffee, start whatever I'm going to do. And you can literally see where I'm staying from there, like up on the hills.
Stunning.
Life.
Amazing.
Living life.
Yeah.
And then all you see on there is, it's fucking raining in England again, it's fucking raining. It's raining here. It's like, oh, you're so English. I'm so English because I do it.
Me too.
Yeah, friends ever go to, oh, it's raining here. Oh.
And you've got a Winnebago when you're here. Is that what you live in?
Where?
When you're in the UK?
Yeah.
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 When did that happen?
Last February it happened, yeah.
Why?
Because I split up my ex and I needed somewhere to go and I wanted to make sure that I had the money so I can provide them still with the life that they wanted to have. And that was it. Renovated it, moved into it, and I absolutely love it.
Where have you been?
Last year I went to Dorset, the New Forest, and somewhere in Southampton, this little island thing. But last year I didn't have many contacts. Now I've got this guy who can like almost mend anything. So then after that, I waited for like 2 months for him to. In the end, I just rang him up. I said, "I need you. Don't care what it cost me to a good degree." He turned up and went, within 10 minutes. That's your problem. Get me the part. Turned up next week. An hour later, that's it. Done. I waited 2 months because no one specialised on it. And I just got back from France with my daughter. But it's hard work. Yeah. Driving on your own. Driving a poxy coach. It's not poxy, but you stop, put the side out, unpack all the stuff, set up all the Wi-Fi and the gas and the whatever, put the stuff back out. Like, right, now do you want to have something to eat? It's constant.
Yeah.
But you sleep. You go to bed at 10 o'clock at night, you sleep. You wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning, you're like, oh,
wow.
You're out.
Wow. So do you see this as going to be like are you going to travel the world in it?
No, because I think you have to have an understanding about mechanics. I'm getting better. Am I? Not really. No, I've learned so much about it in the last year because it was like basically like you saying, I don't know, like I'm going to go and run this like fucking motor company.
Yeah,
You don't know nothing about it. I didn't have a clue about anything.
Yeah.
You leave the battery on, the door kept opening, so the battery run down the battery, so then like the battery's flat, so then you have to use the exhaust. It's so these different things.
Yeah.
So many different things. It's ongoing. Problem with this, problem with that. But now it's like, I understand a lot of it.
And I suppose you're travelling a lot, aren't you, with the brand? What's like full Clockstock next? Clockwork, what's next? Like, are you going to keep growing this at parties around the world?
Try and move away a little bit and do stuff other places. But no, we got 338 in September, Fabric in November, Milton Keynes in October. Nice. Try not to do them every month, but then that's the little like tour date in October, and then New Year's Eve in Thailand, and then beginning of February be Brighton. And in March, we've got this new gaff that we're going to announce. And then we're going to start like announcing as well. We're doing Amsterdam in May.
Oh, wow.
And then Ibiza in July because there's no Clockstock. And my life is just so easier now.
Yeah.
It was stress.
So what was it like? Because obviously like the festival world's gone through a lot in the last few years, hasn't it? In terms of margins and supply chains, the amount of money you can make.
Yeah, it's changed.
Like what is it actually like? Because obviously we're both in the same industry, and people always say to me, "Oh, they must make so much money doing festivals." I'm like, you've got no idea what goes on. What is it actually like taking that amount of risk and the process of it?
It wasn't a risk for. So it went from 10,000 to 15,000 to 17,500 to 14,500 to 12,500. Mm-hmm. And in them early days, got to a certain point, it was over the green line. This year, there's factors involved. There's hundreds of factors. There's loads of factors in somewhere you don't disclose. Reason why we had to start. Hold on a minute. What's going on here? But the buying dynamics have changed. So whereas you'd have that before, buying that for a steady amount of time, this time it's like that, or it's like that, and it will slowly at times get better. And you might towards the end, so you're like, hold on a minute, what's this? Buy-ins change from the public. The weather in England is shocking, so no one's got no confidence in the British summer. We was lucky. On the week run up to it, it was glorious. On the day, it was glorious in the morning. All those sky planes and stuff, all the crisscrosses in the sky. It's like, okay, what's going on here? Friday in the afternoon, the cloud come over. It was all right. Next day it rained. Next week it was that deep in rain.
Yeah.
He's lucky. I done a festival last week, and it rained, and he had that much rain on the floor on the Saturday. By the Sunday,
Were
it
you
was
at
gone.
New World?
No, it was in Clacton.
Nice.
Yeah, proper fest, and I was like, I can't be dealing with that. You're worried about the rain, about the weather, then whether it was going to be too hot. Do you know what I mean? That's just one of 1,000 things you got to worry about. 1,000 things.
Do festivals make money then generally?
Oh, they can do, but the old mentality behind it was everyone used to say, well, you got to do it for 3 years before you start earning no money or earning money. I was like, what the fuck? Would you go to work for 3 years and then go, I want to have and then it's not guaranteed. I went, no, unless I earn for all of them, then there's no fucking point.
Yeah.
And it's been all right all the way through, but I was just like, I'm not doing this again.
No.
I'm not doing it again. No way.
And so, what do you think is going to happen to the UK, like culture, with festivals and nightlife?
Changing, everything will change. Look how it changed from going from the raves of '89 and then clubs. Now the kids allegedly like going to the gym and going to restaurants and bars.
Have you seen that?
No, because I'm not a kid.
No, and your brand, I suppose, isn't that.
Yeah.
Generally.
And if it changes, it changes. And I've had a good run doing it. You know what I mean? Been lucky to have had this second opportunities. Like mental.
Yeah.
Print works for like 6,500, 17,500 for the thing, 4,500 in Benimousa Park, 4,000 in Amnesia 2 nights after. It was good. That was pre-lockdown or pre-COVID. Now it's changing.
What have you seen change from COVID to now?
Well, everybody was mad for it before COVID. Now it's like more of a, I'll get them last minute or I'll buy them whenever. They're not so. But we've been lucky. Printworks sold out. I think was the quickest it's ever sold out. 6,500 tickets in about 20 minutes.
When's that one?
Oh, it's when we done it.
Did it?
When they were closing it. So it wasn't this March. I think it was the March before.
Oh yeah, because of course now I'm thinking of Drum Sheds. That's the new one, isn't
that's
it?
too big.
It's massive.
Yeah, too big.
I've not been there yet.
Yeah, no.
I want to see what it's like though.
You just get lost.
15,000 people.
Yeah, it's too many.
Yeah.
Yeah. Printworks was perfect.
Yeah.
It was just a governor.
Yeah.
So
it's
good.
A great site. Wasn't
Yeah.
It? I think I went to one of the ending Afterlife.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Just before it shut. And that was the first time I've been. The only time I've been, but I loved it.
Yeah, no, it's wicked.
Sites like that, we need more of them.
Perfectly set up.
Yeah.
But is it going to change now? Does everyone really want that? Do they want that kind of size building anymore? Who can fill it? There's not
High
many.
risk, isn't it?
Yeah, and we've moved away from it. We're like, no, too much risk. It's like to do drum sheds, you've got to put 10,000 people in there before you start turning a profit.
Mad.
10,000 people.
Mad. So what do you think? What's going to happen with the next generation? Do you think there's going to be a turn? Do you think they're going to want to go out more?
Some do, some don't.
Yeah.
More little small things. Who really knows until it comes around? Don't know. I ain't got a clue. I won't really be bothered in about another 3 or 4 years, 2 or 3 years. I'll be like, let them get on with it. I've done my thing. Yeah.
And what do you think? Have you seen, like in Ibiza, have you seen a change in the drug culture?
Yeah, they're nothing like we was. They're too reserved. You'll see things highlighted on something on social media, but it was everybody tried to get as smashed as they could in the 90s.
Yeah.
Now you don't really see that. It's all a bit more reserved. It's a bit more like have a picture. It's like wonky. Like, you turn around and someone was like jumping through a window or doing mad shit. Do you know what I mean? Everyone was trying to outdo themselves. Not every time. Maybe that was more our circle, but everyone was having like after parties and sessions and just wonky. Now it's too much like I've got an image. Do you know what I mean? And the ones who don't are deemed like off the wall. But we was all off the wall in the 90s.
Yeah.
We was all off the wall. So it's lame.
And what do you think about that? Do you think that's good for us?
What?
Is that a positive change?
Yeah, of course it is. What, not to do so much gear and...
I mean, you said you had a great time with it.
Yeah, I did, but I think I was lucky I never died.
Yeah. Car
crashes and overdoses and punching windows and slicing my arm along here. And the doctor said to me, he said, like, you're like 3 millimetres away from your wrist. And then I passed out in the bed. And I had blood everywhere and just woke up and like 3 millimetres. And you fell asleep, you wake up, well, you won't wake up dead, will you? You just don't wake up. That's just one thing.
What drove you in those times?
You were just full of madness. So I think if what people talk about now, like ADHD and undiagnosed, and maybe it was that, maybe it weren't, but I had the energy of 3 people. So you put a drink in me, and it was almost like, it's like the drink trying to come out the lid. It's like that. And that's what I was always like. It was just too much energy. So no keys to the door, no problem. Bang, punch the window. Then my mate goes, "It's only joking." And I've like cut on my arm.
Wow.
Mad shit. Just.
Do you still feel that energy now?
No, I burnt it all out. I've burnt it all out. I was working 4 jobs for about 10 years, landscaping, maintenance. I had 6 contracts. I was full-time project manager. What I said about the internals, running all the big jobs. So like sometimes I'd have like 100 men, 5 managers, plus the 6 landscapings, plus clock stock, plus clockwork, plus Clockwork Ibiza, plus DJing at the weekends, plus writing a book. So I pushed and pushed and pushed. And when lockdown come, I say this to everybody, if lockdown wouldn't have come, I think I was fatigued anyway. I think I'd have just gone beyond, just kept pumping and pumping and pumping until, what's happened? And lockdown made me stop. And that's when I started to change.
And so that was a big change in your lifestyle.
Yeah, just changed.
All your food habits.
Yeah, food habits and all that as well, yeah. All started to change, yeah. Why'd you keep getting bloated eating bread?
Yeah.
Stop eating bread. Why'd you keep getting bloated eating chocolate? Stop eating chocolate.
I think a lot of people had that in lockdown. Like
some people did, but have they gone back to where they was?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I wouldn't have stopped, I was burnt out anyway. I used to come back from work, I used to fall asleep every thingy because I was getting up at like 4 o'clock in the morning, travelling to like Turnham Green, Chiswick thing, getting all the early trains, getting there for like 10 to 7, waiting for the site to open. They used to let me work till 2. As I'm coming home, I'm doing all my work on a train. I'd walk up like 33 floors, I'll get the lift, walk round and do all my inspections. And while I'm doing all my clockwork stuff, doing all my landscaping stuff.
Wow.
10
so
years.
You always switched on.
Always. Never switched off. Always. Then we had about 10 clockwork pages and I'm doing them all. I'm posting every day. 2 posts, my pages every fucking day. 20 odd posts a day. Plus all that shit on the train. People used to say to me, like, I turn my phone on, who's the fucking first person who sent it? It was like me. Because I was getting a 5 o'clock or 5:27 train every morning.
Wow. And if you were to do that again, if you were to go back to that time, what would you do differently?
To the 10 years?
Yeah.
Nothing. It's all a learning curve.
Yeah.
Now I can take it a little bit easier because I worked so hard for 10 years. Someone said to me, you swapped being an alcoholic for a workaholic. And I didn't even realise. I went, oh my fucking God. I went, yeah. Didn't even know if someone had paid me. It was just push, push, push.
And was that like the transition? Like as soon as you kind of stopped drinking, you put all that energy into work?
No. I just had a normal job for years and worked Monday to Friday and used to get there at like 7 o'clock and then fuck off at 1 o'clock or so on a Friday. And yes, had a normal job. Then clockwork started and then everything else started from there. And then first of all, I was out of work because I said my daughter was born, so I had 9 months off. And then my ex went back to work. My daughter went to the childminders and then I went, I'll have another 6 months off.
Yeah.
Be all spiritual and chill out and play my Xbox all day long. And then one day I just went, it's not about me, it's about my daughter. She needs to have more than what I had when I was a kid, from the destitute, no carpet, second-hand furniture, holes in my clothes, no food, all that. She needs to get a better life. Phone rang 2 days later, because it was almost like I manifested it. Someone said, do you want a job? I went, yeah, but it's fucking miles away. I did it for a year. I could feel myself sometimes at 11, 12 o'clock, just like that. My body would drop, the energy, just go, oh, fuck. It's almost like I was going over. Then got the landscape contracts, got awarded them without tender, 6 of them. So I was going to work sometimes in the night at 12 o'clock, work till 4 o'clock, because they were outside on marketing suites. Then go to work, get to work for 5:30. Then 1 week I done that. Then I drove from Isha to, where the hell was it? Somewhere like 4.5, 5 hours drive away. And then DJ'd 11 o'clock at night and got home like 28 hours later. And I had a cigarette when I got in the car thinking, yeah, and it just sucked the oxygen out of me as I was driving. I was like, I had my head out the window. It was in the winter. I was going, falling asleep. Oh my God. and the ice is hitting me in the face, and I'm like, woke me up. I was like dead. So I used to do shit like that. That's how I burnt myself out.
But then would you say there's another way? Like if there's a young person listening to this and they're like, how can I make a success? How can I make
You just got to work as hard as you can. Yeah. Just got to keep working as hard as you can until you just get to the point. It's like Churchill, never give up. Just keep pushing to make the success. But you can't, if something ain't going to be a success, it ain't going to be a success.
Yeah. We
were lucky with Clockwork. It was at the right place at the right time at the start. Then Ibiza happened. Then that TV programme happened. Then that happened. Then it all failed. Then I didn't do Clockwork for 11 years. I left for 11 years. No, 9 years, sorry. 11 years, 2001, 2012. Yeah, I left. And then when it started, we never knew. We waited a year until we'd done a second party. I went, oh, let's wait. And Andy was like, let's do one in 3 months or 4 months' time. I went, it needs to be a year. I was still fucking mental off my head. Do you know what I mean? Even though I was like 11 years sober, 9 years sober.
And what was it like having a business partner? Like, have you guys complemented each other?
He was off his head when we relaunched. Now he's 8 months sober. Sometimes he'd do the good. See, it's always worked out. He does this, I do that. I've done a lot of stuff while he was on it and just got himself sober. He used to say I was a crazy one, but then he became the crazy one. It was all when we first started it. Andy used to do the music. I used to run the door and all that. So it's always just worked out. Yeah, 30 odd years.
You've always got on.
Yeah, we've never fell out for that. Yeah. Didn't speak to when I left, he went off and done his music and done parties, like still tried to carry on doing the parties, and I was doing stuff and got sober and changed my life and all that. But we've always then we weren't really like speaking all the time, but we might speak. He's like, I'm gonna do the marathon. It's like, oh, good luck. You've done the marathon and then we come back together and done Clockwork.
And what would you say is the key to a successful business partnership? If you can nail it down to a few things.
Acceptance for who they are, pull them up if they're not, pulling their weight in certain things. Discussion, talk. We talk on the phone all the time. Yeah, just keep talking, and then it's good. He has an idea, and I have an idea, or he has ideas. I'm trying to slow down a little bit now.
Yeah.
And then like Andy will say, "What about this? What about that?" And I'm like, "Oh, I've got this." It's like 338. Been done 338 for 6 years, and then I saw it again, and I went, sent him a message. About 338, and he went, "Oh," do you know what I mean? So, and then we're doing that. 2,500 people. All the tickets are already sold. Probably stop selling it in a couple of weeks, and well, no, it won't be a couple of weeks. It's not this weekend. It's the weekend after.
Yeah.
It works out well. Then I got a contact for like Thailand. He was like, "I fancy that," because I've always said to him, like, it's good to go away at like
Christmas and that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what does your daughter think about it? How old is she?
She couldn't give a shit.
How old is she now?
She's 13. She honestly couldn't give a shit.
Does she know?
Yeah, of course she does. She's grown, massively. She's grown up and known about it all her life, yeah. All her friends now know about it because of stuff. There's a funny story to this. She was in her English class and her headmaster came in with a copy of the book that I wrote and he gave it to my daughter because I'd already pre-arranged because he said, would you sign it for me? I said, I'll write a poem and I'll get it for his wife. Right, cool. So he's given that to Rosie and said, thank you, Rosie, because she knew what he'd come for. And the English teacher went, who's that? And she went, that's my dad. He went, he wrote a book. She went, yeah. Does your dad still live with you, Rosie? And she went, nah, sir, he lives in a caravan. I thought it was quality. But it's not a caravan, it's a Winnebago. Yeah. But she likes it. She loves it. And she's known all about it. She's too cool for school now. She's 13.
It's that age, isn't it?
Yeah, knows everything, yeah.
I love that.
I'd love to remember what I was like at 13. Well, actually, it was a year before my brother's born. Yeah,
wow.
I remember being woken up and told my brother's been born, yeah.
Wow, so it's 13 years between you?
14. 86 he was born, yeah, so 13. So that 13 would have been about 84. No, hold on, 85. Yeah. 85.
So where did you grow up? What was it like for you growing up?
Grew up in Chabberleaf. It was nice people in the road, families. In the days when people was like the community and people looking after their stuff, we lived in a social housing. It was a flat. There was 12 flats. Think about this the other day, and I think it was this side this side was like the nicer people, even though we were on the top floor, except for our next door neighbours, Rose and Pete. Rose and Ron, Marge and Pete. That's it. That's like a 50-year-old memory, a 47-year-old memory. But this side was all the proper social housing people. So you had the recluse John.
Yeah.
All his windows were black. All his curtains, his nets were black. Never come out. Only 2-3 times a year. Sandra used to cut herself with bottles and scissors and sharp things and scream in the middle of the night. This old geezer called Taffy, like this hunchback geezer who was just like with a stroke. Oh, really scary. But my mum used to let me hang about in his flat. She used to go out for the day and leave me in his flat, listening to like music on his headphones. And then John used to come down sometimes and sit on the bed, like this, like mental. And I'm sitting there listening to Charge of Light Brigade, thinking it's amazing. I'm like 8, 9 years old, 7 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. Do you mind, Taffy? Would you look after my boy? Because she had to go out or whatever. And I'm sitting there and I've got like this recluse and this geezer who the guy. Taffy, one day his door was open, it was really hot. And I went, all right, Taff, as I went upstairs, he was just sitting in his chair. I could see him from behind. And he was like, I went, all right, Taff. And he was just sitting there. I was like, oh. So I went and looked at him and he was fucking grey. And he used to do his thing as well. Because he was like had a stroke, his eye used to water. And he was like looking at me with his eyes. I was like, oh. So I went and told my mum and she went and she gave him a tablet in about 10, 15 minutes because he was on all his different tablets. Probably saved his life. But then a few weeks later, we let a rocket off across the communal gardens and it hit his window and it almost smashed it. And he opened it. I'll fucking find you. He's Welsh, can't do the Welsh accent. I'll fucking find you when I do. I'm going to wring your neck. Like, fuck off, you hunchback. But you could get away with that when you was younger.
Wow.
Yeah. And then everybody didn't like my mum in the block of flats because of the parties and the drinking. And we didn't, as I said, we didn't have no carpet, so it was fucking noisy. And that's where I grew up, down that road. Still knowing some of the people. And as I said, I drove down there 2-3 weeks ago. And it was nice to see it, but it was sad to see what it's become. Overgrown shit. The old car park between the 2 block of flats where people park their cars is now like 20 flats in a block. So they've taken away the car park and just built a block of flats. I went, oh, just down an old road.
Wow.
Rubbish everywhere, shit everywhere. I was like, nah.
So how do you think that impacted you?
What?
Like growing up like that, like how did it positively or like just shape you?
Negatively shaped me. Positively made me a survivor. If you ain't got it, you go and get it, or you learn how to survive, how to get out of certain situations. But that was all created by the fact of who my mum was an alcoholic. No money, social housing, whatever, and it's going back to the analogy of like how my daughter was brought up. She's a lovely kid who goes to school and does her school and has maths lessons and blah 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 and has lunch. I never had lunch when I was a fucking kid. You'd be lucky if there was a slice of bread in the cupboard. Do you know what I mean? Or you eat raw spaghetti because that's all there was. Or you'd nick milk off someone's doorstep or eat apples in the summer. That was my thing when I was a kid. My daughter got left with me once, or I was looking after her. She was my daughter and she went out. And she was about 3 or 4. Daddy, where's my lunch? I said to her, I went, what are you talking about? She went, where's my lunch? Mummy always does me lunch. I went, what's lunch? Like, what are you talking about? She went, Mummy does me and all this. I went, I've not grown up like that. Do you know what I mean? So you went out and you tried to do things whatever you could. I set cars on fire, I set garages on fire, I fucking broke into places, smashed windows. The geezer always used to chase us off the garage roofs. You just did whatever you could. That's a totally different life to what she's got.
Yeah.
How she was brought up. So that's how it made me.
Did you set out to be like that?
No, you don't. That's how you're moulded as a kid, isn't you? It's the
Yeah.
environment in which you're in.
Yeah.
It's how I was brought up by my mum, and she just let me be wild. So it's not in her hair and let me go out, and and there were probably elements of good, but then like there were elements of bad. I couldn't go on a school trip because we didn't have the money, so the school paid, or you get sent on a school trip and we went out for the day, and she just got me a big bag of crisps and fucking 2 litres of Coke, and they sent her a letter saying like, Mrs. Gould, like, every child's brought a packed lunch and your kid's eating fucking salt with crisps and he's got 2 litres of Coke. So, it was the mindset of an alcoholic.
Yeah.
And crazy shit. I don't think I've ever spoke about this. I remember when I was a kid and I bought my mum a Lionel Richie album. And then when I woke up in the morning, I don't know if she'd cut herself or what she'd done, but there was if there was elements of blood. But she got the Lionel Richie album, got the fucking, I'm trying to piece it, I can see exactly where it is, the vinyl record, and she cut it with a Stanley knife and just kept cutting it and ripped it all to pieces. And I remember like that. These things that shape your mind or if like that. And I remember looking at it, I was like 9, 10, and looking at it and going, like, baffled. Do you know what I mean? Like, why? Why would you do that? The madness. Taking your mum up the off licence, couldn't walk, going in the shop, getting the drink and the stuff and all that. And that shapes you. Do you know what I mean?
And did she ever recover?
She did. She was 27 years sober, which my mum was as crazy as a fucking cave full of bats. My mum, when she passed away, yeah, she was sober, but she was mad.
Wow. And was she a single mum?
Yeah. My mum wouldn't go to bed until sunrise because she was scared of the dark, and she'd read every single spiritual novel. My mum was a healer as well, and my mum could, if you was in a right old pickle, she'd sort you out. But she didn't have that information for herself. But in the winter, she didn't go to sleep till 7 in the morning, 7:30, when it started getting light. In the summer, 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock. So she'd stay up reading books after books after books all night long. Yeah.
Wow. And do you think it made you independent?
Oh, massively independent, yeah. Yeah, you got to do what you can for yourself. If you know you're not going to get it from one place, you've got to do it for yourself.
And really, that's what entrepreneurship's about, isn't it?
Yeah, the will to survive. I remember going to the school disco, leaving school disco, and my trousers were wet. And the mum went, "Have you got a tumble dryer?" I went, "No." I went, "What's that?" She went, "Where you like dry your clothes?" I went, "No." She went, "You got a washing machine?" I went, "No." I had to do it in the sink. She went, "Have you got an iron?" I went, "Yeah." She went, "You could have ironed them dry." So I just had wet trousers on. That was it. She went, "Where's your mum?" I went, "She's probably out. Don't know." So there were times, yeah, but it gives you the more strive to be successful in a way. I think is it in your genes, or you can see something, or you're creative. Or I had jobs before school when I was a kid. I had jobs after school. I had jobs in the evening. I worked 7 days a week, but I earned 30 quid a week.
Yeah,
Got nothing.
But I can imagine you didn't have a lot of role models around you that were entrepreneurial, set in the way. So you found something within yourself.
Yeah, no dad. My grandfather and my grandmother and my grandfather, I used to think they were posh. And it was only in these last few recent years that I've actually looked at them and gone, they were normal.
Yeah.
That's where we come from. I thought my nan was posh because she made apple pies and she made a roast on a Sunday. I can't honestly remember my mum making me a roast before when I was a kid. She made me like egg chips and beans tonight, boy. I went, oh, or spam used to have, and do you know what I mean? Or like whatever, and or like chip sandwich. That's what you'd have when you was a kid. Loads of butter. Oh, don't, it's made me hungry. Straight away, it's made me hungry. Oh my God. But they're the memories I remember. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. They're the things I remember. Ham, egg and chips was like, oh my God, ham, egg and chips. Mummy chips. So she'd get in your brain. Yeah. Mummy chips. Get the lard out the cupboard. And
I think what's beautiful to hear about your journey is that obviously it's been challenging, I can imagine at times, all challenges, but you've got to where you've got your own back. You've had experiences that maybe some people start in a different place of life, but the principles you've learned, like working hard, grinding, like making it happen. Yeah.
So much hard work.
But that shaped who you are.
Yeah. Yeah, and then that's what I was saying. When you were saying about earlier on about the 10 years or whatever the journey, now it's got to the point now, it's like, I'm slowing down.
Yeah.
I'm slowing down because of lockdown. I'm slowing down. I gave up the project manager's job 2021, finished this last project, turned it around for a friend. That was hard. And it wasn't stress. My head actually felt like I was doing that. Like, the pain in my head. And I was like, that's it. I've got to stop this.
Yeah.
Now I love it. Yeah. Now I love it. The landscaping's gone from 6 to 1. It's all going like that.
It'll be interesting to see what happens for you next, Danny.
Yeah.
Yoga king. I think you're going to get some yoga into your...
stretch person.
Stretch person.
Just stretch person, that's it.
But you're going to do some yoga in Thailand.
Yep.
Watch this space, guys. Danny Gould's yoga festival.
You never know.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Danny, it's been amazing.
Thank you.